Hi, I'm Alex Edelman. Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show.
Alex Edelman, welcome to the Sarah O'Connell Show. How are you today?
Good. I'm pretty good, actually.
Good.
Yeah. I'm excited to be in Southampton. There are people sneezing outside. You can hear them. And Bastille was just playing on the sound system. So, what more could you ask for?
Exactly. And you've had a busy few months. You've been in LA, you've been in Australia, you've just come back from Germany. How was that?
Incredible. I've never been to Berlin before. It was weird, though, because I was cutting the quite heavy cultural stuff with also, like, not partying, but, like, doing some entertaining things. So I left the Holocaust Memorial to go to the Beyonce and Jay-Z concert, and those mood swings are very, very precipitous. So, yeah. And I have terrible hay fever, so sorry for rubbing my eyes or sneezing or whatever will happen in the next, few minutes. But yeah, Berlin was amazing. Had only been once properly, so this was pretty cool. Yeah.
And you were on a party bus last night?
Yes, for Steen Raskopoulos' birthday party, which is very cool, really cool. The party bus kept overheating and breaking down, and that somehow added to it. Phil Wang and I, and Steen and Aisling B and Sarah Pascoe and a whole bunch of other comics were there, just generally waiting to be exploded in a party bus that was with a dodgy engine. It was a lot of fun.
Well, that's how all the best parties are, right?
Yeah, any bus I'm on is a party bus as long as it's designated as a party bus.
Exactly.
That's great.
Literally could have gone off with a bang as well.
Yes.
So, Alex, you grew up in Boston, and I believe you did your first comedy gig at 15. What was that like?
Yeah, it was terrible, and I was terrible, and I didn't really do comedy solidly till I was 18 or 19 years old, but, my first gig was really bad, and it was really shit, but, it's funny to remember it. I remember it super clearly, and it was in a pizzeria. It was a music open mic, and I showed up and asked if I could do some comedy, and they said, why? And I said, I saw it on TV. It looks like a lot of fun, and they just didn't have the heart to say no to me, so I bombed hard. So yeah, it was real bad. It was my first gig.
That must have taken tons of courage at 15.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I've never. I don't remember what that sort of psyche was like. A 15-year-old wanting to do stuff. I probably was just more lacking in self-awareness than courageous or anything like that. I think courageous things are different than things you do when you're dumb. So. Maybe though, yeah, it was quite brave 15-year-old to die and keep going back. All right.
Yeah, that's great. How long was it before you thought, okay, I've got enough for like a solid hour of material?
Oh man, it took. I still don't feel like I have a solid hour of material.
Oh, you really, really do.
I've done 3 hours, three and a half, 4 hours of stuff total, and, with odds and ends that never made it out of the group stage. I guess, a little more than that, but. Oh no, it's I got a solid hour together. I guess 2014. I was for my first Edinburgh show. I felt pretty prepared. But looking back on it, and I have been, quarter hour call for the show. 2014, my first Edinburgh show, and looking back on it, it was okay. It was merely okay, but I was really pleased with how it was received, and made me want to keep coming back and doing hours. So, I can't ask for much more than that.
What was the comedy scene like in Boston? I know you're kind of based in New York now.
Man, it used to be incredible. I don't know so much how it is now. Some really terrific comedians are still there, but I think the scene has somewhat abated. When I was there were great young comics. Joe List. Langston Hughes. Langston Kerman. Langston Kerman is going to be really chuffed when he finds that I've referred to him as Langston Hughes, who's a great poet. Sam J was one of my favorites. Emma Willman. And some of these people were actually there a little bit after I left, but I would come back and gig, and they were all good. Josh Gondelman, Mike Kaplan, who's going to be at the Fringe this year, and who I highly recommend to anybody watching. But it was great. It was an incredible education. And the old legends who were there, Gary Goldman's not an old legend, but he's been a role model of mine since I was, 16 years old. And he's one of the best comics alive anywhere. And he's got so many specials on Netflix and so many late night spots. But yeah, the Boston comedy scene, I can't say enough about how big a deal it was to me. Yeah, it's super cool.
And what's the best advice you've ever been given, and what advice would you give to people wanting to start comedy?
Well, there's advice that worked for me, which is that the advice that worked for me was not comedy related. It was just travel and go to, see as much as you can. I had an old boss named Larry Lucchino who used to say that. And I think comedy-wise, Gary Goldman and Elon Gold and a bunch of other people who I admired, when they were always really stressing the idea that you should keep writing. And I think a bad writer, a good writer who's a bad performer can become a better performer, but I think it's harder for good performers to become better writers. And I think a lot of I think it's harder for good performers but bad writers to become better writers. So I think people starting should write, and you'll know what are the jokes, even if they're not quite cohesive. And I think being really ambitious in what you want to achieve on stage is really important. Like, not over earnest, but like, make sure your jokes are jokes that you haven't heard before, or jokes that are original, even if they're not quite there yet, because you'll get them there. Just, originality is almost more important than being funny to me, because original people usually find the funny in it. So, yeah.
It's very good advice. Now, I've discovered that you're a huge fan of Steve Martin, as am I.
Oh my God, he's the greatest. He's my favorite of all time. Yeah, I wrote a piece. Him and Mel Brooks are my two favorites of all time. I'm an old Jew on the inside, so and rapidly approaching it on the outside. I guess that's how time works. But yeah, Steve Martin. I wrote a piece about him for The Guardian. He retweeted it, so that was a huge day for me. Yeah, it was really cool. I love him a lot. I'm a big Steve Martin fan. And yeah, I'm at the point where if my hair starts to go gray, I don't even think I'll feel that bad about it.
Just let it rock.
Let it rock. I love Steve Martin. I even like the stuff that most people consider to be bad. I love everything about him. And his jokes are such pearls, and he's got such a specific sense of humor that feels really personal to him. So yeah, I love that.
I've just been watching, he's got a comedy masterclass online, which you can kind of take with you. So good, yeah, I've just sort of finished it.
Oh shit, I gotta get into that. My buddy Will Miles, I think, is there a young black dude in the class?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was in it. I think it's really good. I gotta see it. I'm desperate to see it.
I got through I don't know how long it's supposed to take you to get through the whole thing, but it took me a day and a half. I just solidly watched it.
Oh man, yeah, I need to get into that.
Yeah. Just started reading his book, He's Born Standing Up.
Yeah, I mean, I read that when it came out. No offense. Fuck off. Yeah, you should have read that years ago.
I've been reading every book alphabetically, so I've just got to S now. So it's not my fault. Some are really long, and I've read the entire.
S for standing.
Yeah.
Or B. It should be in B for born.
Exactly. Well, Steve.
Or M for Martin.
Sure.
Okay.
If you put your books around that way.
Yeah. Wait till you get to Zadie Smith. Your mind's gonna be blown.
I know, right? But I've read the entire internet, which keeps updating.
The entire internet. Yeah. Wow. There used to be an ad. I used to do a joke about this. There's an ad where this guy's clicking through a web page, and he hits a web page, and the browser goes, "Congratulations, you've reached the end of the internet." It was for high internet speed. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, and said on stage, like, if that man has seen everything on the internet, then his face would look like the portrait of Dorian Gray. He just sunken and cracked, and like his eyes, and like the cops would be over his shoulder, like everything on the internet. There's a lot of illegal shit on the internet.
Really horrific idea, isn't it? Actually, I wouldn't want to do that. You were a writer on The Great Indoors. It was a great series.
Yes.
Really good cast as well. Is that something you'd like to do more?
It was a great series.
Yeah.
It was good. I really loved it. It was, to me, it was a magical, wonderful experience. And I think a lot of people just go, oh, it was a middle-of-the-road sitcom. But I loved it so much. And every actor on it was brilliant. And the writers were doubly brilliant. Unbelievable writers. Unbelievable writing staff. Unbelievable director. The guy who directed the series did 92 episodes of Seinfeld, Andy Ackerman. Stephen Fry is cool to work with. He's an absolute genius. That word is liberally applied now, but he deserves it. He is very... he's wise. He's not just smart. He's very wise. I love him a lot. So yeah, I loved working on the show, and it taught me how to write for television, which is super important.
So is that something you'd like to do more of?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. So now you've performed on the Conan O'Brien show. You've supported Eddie Izzard and Ricky Gervais and Patton Oswalt. What was that experience like?
Which one of the four? They were all incredible, singular experiences.
Have you got a favorite, like, just performance that you've done at gig anywhere in the world?
Yeah, Berlin, actually. Not this past trip. The first time it was with Eddie Izzard. It was this show called Comedy Sans Frontiers, Comedy Without Borders. And Izzard got comedians from every country involved in World War II in the European theater to do a show in Berlin and a show in Moscow on the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II, because there are different days in those countries because of the time zone. And so we did one show in Berlin, and they did it in Hitler's old favorite theater called Admiralpalast, but it used to be called Führerstrasse. And they changed it in like the 70s. And when I asked about it, they're like, things go into style, things come out of style. It was very cool. And I was on right before Izzard. Yeah. And I brought my best jokes, like I packed everything into it. It was a lot of fun. And the host is this German guy, Michael Mittermeier, who's so funny. And he's like their Chris Rock. And he would usually be headlining a venue like that. In fact, he is in a few weeks playing that same venue in German. Okay. But this show was just him hosting, and the energy that he brought. It's like Chris Rock hosting a night, or Michael McIntyre, or Jimmy Carr, or Catherine Ryan hosting a night, just absolutely smashing it as host. So it was great. It was really cool.
That sounds amazing. Now, Alex, you've got a twin brother who happens to be an Olympian.
He's not my twin. That's what I tell on stage. Oh. That's one of the few fibs in my act. I used to say he looks like a twin, and then one day I went, I have a twin brother, and it was cleaner. And my friend Alfie Brown just do it. Just fuck it. Who cares? But now it's this lie that I have to live, because people come up to me and they tell me these long stories about how they're a twin brother, and they feel the pain, how I must experience as a twin, and at the end I have to go, so I'm actually not a twin. It's a lie. And people just like, what? Like, really? And I'm like, yeah, not my twin. And people are like gobsmacked by that. But he did compete in the Olympics. Yeah. That is so true.
It's incredible.
Yeah, AJ made the Olympics. He made the Olympics for Israel in skeleton, which is so odd and really fun. And I went to go watch it, and it was so sublime, just, being there in Korea with my bro. Yeah. And yeah, I had a great time. He was incredible. James Acaster there, just walking in, looking at charge his phone. It's so funny. Sorry about the hay fever and all of the cocaine.
That's fine. It was very kind of you to give it to me.
Yeah. Yes, very high. This is very high energy podcast. Us sitting in chairs, me wearing a hooded sweatshirt and sniffling a bunch. But yeah, it was. Look, when my brother, making himself into a world-class athlete to experience that environment. I mean, what else could you possibly hope to achieve in your life in terms of a singular pursuit? People have wonderful careers, but in terms of a singular pursuit, making the Olympics, maybe winning a medal, but it's not that far off. Although in his case, very far off. He finished in 28th place. But
I finished like 7 billionth place, so that's pretty good.
We finished in the bottom 6.5 billion. That's whenever people were like, "Oh, you came in 28th place." I'm like, "Yeah, but what place did you come in?" Exactly. That's very funny.
True story. So tell me something that nobody watching this will know about you. A fun fact.
Something that no one else will know about me. In what arena of my life? I'm trying to...
It could be a fun hobby that you have. It could be...
When I was a child, I used to write letters to not famous people, but people who had been bystanders to interesting historical events, like the dudes who dropped the atomic bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and people who were involved in different important sports plays, like a specific pass in a football game or a specific tackle in a football game. And I had a brief pen palship with Ray Bradbury, who wrote Fahrenheit 451. And this is all because my grandmother saw that I was struggling with writing, and she wanted to get me to write more. So this was her way of encouraging me to do that. So I have all of these weird letters and mementos from like different World War II heroes and Medal of Honor winners, which is our biggest award for valor, and different sporting people that I admired a lot growing up, and many of whom have passed away because it's been 15, 20 years since I underwent this, not 20, but 15 years since I was doing this. So I think that's really interesting, actually. That's very interesting. And I've never talked about that. So I guess that's a little new fun fact for the viewers of the Cyril O'Connell Show.
Sure is. And I guess like social media's made that easier now. You can reach out to, astronauts or whoever.
That's true. But if you write a letter, you used to always get a response. I don't know how it is now. People send me letters sometimes, and I always try to write back. But it's hard and it feels weirdly impersonal. So... the internet does seem in your face a lot more. So
it's very true.
Yeah.
And now your show Millennial won an award at Ed Fringe, which is amazing.
That was my first one. That was the one I was talking about. I hate it now, but I'm very proud of it. Yeah. It's an old show, but I'm going to do it as an album so that people can hear it, but I'm going to update it a little bit so that...
Are you re-recording?
Yeah, I'm going to re-record it to pull it out for the first time in about 3 years and see how it feels to me. Shift it around in my hands, see what it's like.
So watch this space for that then. And then also you've got a show live at the BBC on Netflix?
Yes, that's on Netflix UK if it's still up. And also I've got a new show in Edinburgh this year called Just For Us. And I don't want to tell too much about it, but I went to a meeting of Nazis in New York City, or white nationalists, and that's the center. I guess that's the center of the show. And yeah, it's been my favorite show so far, so I really hope people come watch it.
It's called Just For Us. It sounds like a really personal show, is that right?
It's super personal. It's really personal. The most personal show I've ever done, which means it's probably the best. Or the more personal you are, that's other good advice. That's a good full circle thing to come around to. If you can make it personal, you'll be shocked at how much more the audience enjoys it. Making even an anecdote or observation, make it personal. There you go.
Like about your very close twin brother.
My very close twin brother. My identical twin brother.
It's true. Now I'm questioning if you worked at KFC, all that stuff. Could it all be a lie? I'll be rewatching.
Everything is a lie. Every single thing. My name isn't Alex Edelman. My name is Marty Leon. I'm a doctor, a middle-aged doctor. I organize medical conferences. Been doing that for about 40 years. And everything you know about me is totally fake.
You're aging really well.
Oh, thank you so much. I need to shave a bit, but yeah. When I shave it, I look about 50, so.
It's incredible. So you're also going to be at Comedy Central Live in October.
Yes, here in Southampton. Yes. It's going to be really cool. I'm really excited. I love it here. I've come here a bunch of times on my way to the Isle of Wight Festival, so yeah, I'm pretty psyched about that. And it's going to be a really sick lineup, so that's
it's
really
a
cool.
Lineup.
Yeah, it's really good, and I'm right there in the middle of the poster, like exactly in the middle of the goddamn poster between like Ed Gamble and John Robbins or something, so
Me too, but I did Photoshop it. I don't know if that counts.
It does.
My mum's impressed. So, finally, have you got any messages for your fans around the world and people watching the Sarah O'Connell Show?
Buy tickets to the show if you're in Edinburgh, and I always preview it in London and stuff, and the UK is my second home, so I'm here a lot, and I always post my shows on my Facebook page, and I gig all over, so keep an eye out. And my social media name is Alex Edelman, so find me on various social media sites and stuff.
Well, Alex Edelman, thank you so much for your time today. For everyone watching at home, be sure to share, subscribe, give the video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you all again soon for another episode of the Sarah O'Connell Show. Bye.